Meet Darren Walters, a 20-year-old aspiring boxer, fresh out of a tough training session and just looking for a meal at McDonald's. But instead of a simple order, Darren finds himself the target of blatant discrimination. As other customers are served before him, Darren politely questions the cashier, Evans, only to face rude dismissals and veiled racism. Things escalate when a prejudiced officer arrives, assuming Darren is the troublemaker. After being physically assaulted, Darren defends himself, landing a punch that knocks the officer unconscious. The scene spirals into chaos, with Darren arrested and his future hanging in the balance. But justice prevails. Darren's father, the town's police chief, uncovers the truth through security footage. The racist cashier is fired, the officer disciplined, and Darren is exonerated. Stay till the end to see how one act of courage turned the tables and proved that standing up for yourself can lead to justice. Darren Walters, a 20-year-old aspiring boxer, was known for his humility and hard work. Despite being the son of Chief Thomas Walters, the head of the police in town, Darren never used his father's position to gain favors. After a grueling training session at the local gym, all he wanted was a simple meal at McDonald's to refuel. The restaurant was crowded, with the mouth-watering smell of fries and burgers filling the air. Darren patiently stood in line, watching as other customers ordered their food. He was tired but content, looking forward to a quiet moment with his meal. Little did he know, this ordinary trip would soon turn into something much more challenging, testing his patience and his sense of justice. As Darren patiently waited in line, he couldn't help but notice something strange. One by one, customers who had arrived after him were being served before him. At first, he thought it might just be a mistake, but after the fifth person got their food, his frustration began to grow. He stepped up to the counter and politely addressed the young cashier, Evans. "Excuse me," Darren said, trying to keep his voice calm. "I've been waiting for a while. Could you check on my order?" Evans didn't even look up from the register, his tone dismissive as he muttered, "I'll get to you when I get to you." The way he spoke, the way he ignored Darren, didn't sit right with him. Darren had seen this kind of subtle racism before, but it was never as blatant as this. Feeling uneasy, Darren asked again, "I've been here for 20 minutes, and people who came after me are getting served. What's going on?" This time, Evans shot him a nasty look and sneered, "Maybe you should be more patient." His words stung, but Darren wasn't going to let it slide. He stood tall, refusing to back down. "I don't think this is about patience," Darren said, his voice rising a little. "I think you're ignoring me because of my skin color." The room grew tense. People around him started to whisper, and Darren could feel the weight of their stares. Evans, clearly uncomfortable, didn't miss a beat. He glared at Darren and said, "Get out of my face or I'll call the cops." His smug tone was meant to intimidate, but Darren wasn't backing down. "Go ahead," Darren said, challenging him without hesitation. "Call them. Let's see what happens." Evans, confident that he had the upper hand, smirked as he signaled for one of his co-workers to call the police. Darren knew this was about to escalate, but he wasn't about to let Evans get away with it. Moments later, Officer Brett Sanders, a tough, middle-aged cop with a reputation for being harsh, arrived at the scene. He quickly assessed the situation and immediately assumed Darren was the one causing trouble. Without a second thought, he turned to Darren and barked, "What's going on here?" Before Darren could explain, Evans quickly jumped in, accusing him of being the aggressor. "He's refusing to leave, officer," Evans said smugly. Officer Sanders didn't even try to hear Darren's side. He scowled and ordered, "I suggest you leave now before things get ugly." His words were threatening, and Darren could feel the tension rising. Darren, standing his ground, calmly replied, I haven't done anything wrong. I just asked why I was being ignored. But Officer Sanders wasn't listening. Without warning, he grabbed Darren by the arm and tried to force him toward the door. The rough handling triggered something inside Darren. Instinctively, he pulled away. Then, without warning, Sanders swung his baton, striking Darren hard in the ribs. The pain shot through him, and in a split second, Darren reacted. His boxing instincts kicked in, and with a quick, powerful punch, his fist connected with the officer's face. The blow landed so hard that Sanders crumpled to the floor, unconscious. The room fell silent, and Darren stood there, shaken, unsure of what would happen next. The atmosphere in the McDonald's grew tense as police sirens wailed in the distance. Within minutes, more officers arrived and surrounded Darren, handcuffing him and taking him into custody. Evans stood by the door, a smug smile on his face, clearly reveling in what he thought was his victory. He believed Darren would pay for the confrontation, but he couldn't have been more wrong. Word of the incident spread quickly, and soon Chief Thomas Walters arrived at the scene. As the head of the police department and Darren's father, he wasn't about to let the situation slide without a thorough investigation. Chief Walters reviewed the security footage from the restaurant, and it didn't take long for the truth to emerge. The video clearly showed Darren acting in self-defense, with Officer Sanders being the aggressor. With the evidence in hand, justice was served. Officer Sanders faced disciplinary action for his use of excessive force, and Evans was fired for his role in provoking the entire incident. Darren, who had been wrongly arrested, was released, and the truth came to light. It was a victory for justice, but Darren knew this was just one battle in the ongoing fight for fairness. As Darren walked out of the police station, his father, Chief Walters, by his side, he felt a sense of relief wash over him. The truth had prevailed, and he was free. But as he looked at the night sky, something deeper settled in his heart. This wasn't just about one moment in McDonald's. It was part of a much bigger fight. A fight against racism, injustice, and the subtle biases that still linger in society. Darren realized that while his boxing career was important, this battle was just as crucial. It wasn't enough to be strong in the ring. He had to be strong outside of it too. As he walked alongside his father, Darren made a vow to himself. No matter how hard life got, no matter how tough the fight, he would never stop standing up for what was right. Whether in the ring or in the face of injustice, Darren would keep fighting, for himself, for his community, and for the future. This story is a powerful reminder of the importance of courage, perseverance, and standing up for what's right. Darren didn't back down when faced with injustice, and in doing so, he showed us all the power of standing up for yourself, no matter the consequences. It's a lesson we can all take to heart. Whether in big moments or everyday life, never let fear stop you from fighting for justice. So, what would you have done in Darren's place? Would you have stood your ground like he did? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.